Philosophy is responsible for the deaths of millions of people. I know that sounds weird. You may not believe me, but it's true. Should we allow philosophy if it's gonna do that? Let's consider.
I can't get it off my mind.
Hello, philosophers. I'm Chico. Welcome to the Philosopher Show, where we consider the greatest questions of human history. By the way, I hope that's not weird that I keep calling you guys philosophers. I don't know how to start these things. It's so weird. You know, my wife watches all these hair and makeup tutorials. She's a hair and makeup artist. And they always start with, hey guys, hey you guys, you know, it's your girl Candace, or I don't know, whatever it is. But yeah, it's always hey guys. So I couldn't think of anything else to say. So there it is. Philosophers. So you may not believe me, right? Maybe you don't believe me that philosophy is responsible for the deaths of millions of people. Well, there are some philosophers that have influenced people who have killed millions of people, and they've been directly influenced by them. So, for example, Frederick Nietzsche, I don't speak German, so I don't think I'm saying that right, Nietzsche. But someone's going to criticize that. It's all right. I'm bad. My bad. I speak Spanish. So Frederick Nietzsche said, these categories of evil and good are illusory categories, right? They are categories that Christians have developed to dupe the stronger to serve the weaker. You want to get beyond those categories. You want to become the Superman, the Übermensch, right? And that is exactly what Adolf Hitler did. Adolf Hitler, in fact, even when he met Mussolini, handed him a copy of Nietzsche. Hitler wanted to create a race of people without morals and cruel. Now, notice not immoral people, but amoral people. People that doesn't even register what's right and wrong. Pretty gnarly, right? Responsible for 12 million deaths. He was going out to be that Superman. He was going out to conquer the world, as Nietzsche suggested. Now, I'm not saying that Nietzsche was Nazi or that he would even have approved of that, but you know, it's from that philosophy. Logic, you know, he brought it to the logical conclusion. Pol Pot is responsible for 1.7 million deaths. That was the Cambodian killing fields, right? He was influenced by Jean-Paul Sartre. And I don't speak French either. I can say very few. Je suis un homme. I can't. That's the best I got. Right? Je voudrais une bataille de. So Sartre thought that we were empty bubbles on a sea of nothingness. Right. A very bleak view of life. But so if that's all we are, what's wrong with popping a few bubbles? Right. That's all Pol Pot did. Cambodia is still trying to recover from the killing fields, but the winner here would be Karl Marx, who influenced Mao Zedong, Lenin, Stalin. You know, I have 4 fingers up for 3 people. These Marx said, "Go out there and start the revolution. You know, don't worry about the means, worry about the ends," and that's exactly what these people did. Right, so we have 23 million from Lenin, 30 million from Stalin, and really gnarly 49 to 78 mil from Mao Zedong. I mean, that's a pretty big, guesstimate right there, like 25 million people around there. But it was so crazy. We don't even really know how many people, and in some wild ways. I mean, you probably have heard of the Holocaust and some of the atrocities, but Stalin did some crazy stuff. If you're interested in this, by the way, you should check out a book. This was really cool. Not cool, but like really fascinating. Aleksandr Solzhenitsyn, The Gulag Archipelago. I read all 3 volumes. They were just insane. I'll put a link in the description. Check it out. Seriously, you gotta check that out. Check out the link too, because his name is spelled all jacked up. And he was detailing all the different things, like all that he did to people who were jailed in the in the Soviet Union, and jailed for just, bizarre things, for saying really ridiculous, any little thing, even if you didn't do something, if the people thought that you were a KR, a counter-revolutionary, then you would be sent to, these underground prisons. And what I remember most about it, because the first volume, or first or second, I can't remember which one, I listened to on my iPod back then, and he was talking about the different torture techniques that they would get to get the names of your co-conspirators. I mean, whom they knew, you didn't have co-conspirators, but they still wanted you to write out the name. I don't know why they don't just sign names for you, but they would torture you so that you would do it. And I went through prisoner of war training. I mentioned in one of my previous videos I was an Air Force pilot. I went through prisoner of war training, right? And so that we learned about a lot of these different torture techniques. So while I'm listening to this, I'm like, yeah, dog, I got that, right? Like, I think I would hold out, right? And I'm listening to this, and they get this part, the narrator gets this part. He said that the female interrogators especially like to do this. They would wear steel-toed boots. They would strip you down naked and hold you onto the ground, and the interrogator would put a toe and a testicle and say, you have 4 seconds to give me some names. And I was like, I'd sell out everybody I know, right? I mean, like, I'll give you whatever names you want, right? You just tell me what you want. And the worst part, imagine that, it's not like you go to like a hospital to get fixed up, right? You don't even get an ice pack. You get sent to go lay on your 30-person cot, It's crazy, man. They did some gnarly stuff, and all in the name of that philosophy, right? And if that's the case, if that's what philosophy results in, then, geez, it seems like we would want to avoid doing that, right? I've got so many stories about that. That it's real. I had a student once tell me, Jessica, I won't say your last name and sell you out, but man, I still remember it. Hilarious. Really cute girl, and she's in my class. She's very sweet, and everything. And she's like, yeah, I'm really into the Holocaust. And everybody looks around like, what? What she meant was it was fascinating, right? Like how these things could even happen. It's beyond comprehension, right? So yeah, check out that Solzhenitsyn book, man. That's good. Anyway, it seems like we should avoid philosophy if that's the kind of stuff that philosophy results in. I would say, I think two things. Number one, only some philosophies like that. Very, very little philosophy actually results in something like that, There are pacifist philosophies. And you might actually think pacifism is a dangerous thing in itself because then nobody's protecting themselves or not protecting their country. I don't know. I mean, my name is Paul. That's between y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like that is maybe it's right, but my point is there's some philosophy in there that is non-dangerous. Maybe the right mix of non-aggression with whatever it is, right? My point is that not all philosophy, in fact, most philosophy would not result in something like that. But I think the bigger point is, because you can still say, well, okay, so some philosophy is not bad, but why do any philosophy if some of it's going to do this? I think the only way to combat that kind of philosophy is with good philosophy. I mean, imagine you have Hitler's ear. You are trying to get him to stop the Holocaust. How do you do it? Do you just tell him no, bad? Maybe you use force, but think about like how force has changed. It doesn't seem like in a lot of wars that have been started where one country is going into another country, the former country loses. I mean, look at we're still in Iraq, and I'm not knocking. I have friends in Iraq right now. So I'm not trying to be political in any way or another. I'm just saying that you go into a country to change something, and it is hard, man. Because nobody wants to listen. I mean, you can't force everybody to listen to you. You can't force everybody to do what you want them to do. We thought, well, you're going to topple, the Saddam Hussein, and then everybody's going to become, a Jeffersonian Democrat, and that was just not what happened. We lost Vietnam, right? So you think like you can just bully everybody into believing you? The Americans, like we started off through guerrilla warfare, through a victory against the British, right? We won the big empire, man. It's like when you're fighting people on their home turf and they have a different philosophy than you can fight them all you want. They're going to stick it out, and you're not going to be able to convince them usually through force. Typically, it takes, actually talking to them. And so I think we do good philosophy to combat the bad philosophy. I think if you are talking to Hitler, then you try to convince him through using your reason. I don't think that's the only thing, by the way. I think through love is the big thing. I think, like you don't, nobody listens to you when you're just like, well, here's why you're wrong. I have reason A, B, and C. Nobody listens to that. I think first, and this is just my philosophy, so, take it with a grain of salt, but I think people only listen to you once you've, proved that you care about them. So yeah, I mean, that's probably first. But then, after that, you need to have the good reasons, because it doesn't matter how much I care about you. If I can't convince you, if once I have your ear, once you're listening to me, I don't have good reasons, then you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, I think we do good philosophy to combat bad philosophy. Okay, again, best philosophy happens in dialogue. So 2 questions for you. Number 1, if you had Hitler in front of you, what would you say? Right? I'm not saying that you could actually convince him, but let's say let's say you had that audience, you had that opportunity, and you just find yourself in it. What do you think you might say? Second, should we censor dangerous philosophers? Should we say, okay, these philosophers have led to mass genocides? Should we say, let's not read those philosophers? I'm not saying we should, by the way. I mean, I know you're going to get, some people are going to get really amped up. I'm not saying that. I'm asking you the question, What do you think? I think, personally, that these kinds of questions are great. And if you do too, I think it would be great if you subscribe to my channel, right? It's going to really help me to continue to do these videos. Also, please like, comment, and share with a friend so that they can join the conversation. And I'll talk to you next time. Adios.